Despite a war in Ukraine, the Fed raising interest rates and record gas prices, stocks actually posted one of their best weeks in years last week.
That's right. Rick Reagan is here to help us understand why. So, Rick, it really was actually a good week for the 401ks.
Now, it was, but first, let me welcome you, Ryan, to Channel 9.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that.
How's that first day going for you?
I get to sit next to Nicole. Life is really good.
Oh, I'll keep them.
That's awesome. So I guess, back to your question, though, about the markets, it really was a spectacular week. We rarely see the markets move as much as they did last week. If we take a look at charts over a chart of the past year, and the blue bar lines that you see, those are weekly movements on the S&P 500. So if you look to the far right-hand side, that was last week. We picked up over 6%, and you can tell by looking back over to everything to the left, we weren't anywhere near close to that big of a move anytime during the past year. So, yeah, as far as things that make you feel a lot better, you are feeling a lot better on your 401k after this past year or past month.
But with everything going on, Rick, and most of it is negative, how have the stocks bounced so much?
Yeah, it does seem that way, doesn't Nicole? And there's certainly a lot of bad news out there. But I think we saw the stocks bounce so much last week. Number one, just because we were due. The market was really oversold. We've been coming down pretty much the entire year. So usually when you see stocks oversold like they were, you do get a bounce like that. What also helped, ironically, is I think the Fed statement helped us out. The Federal Reserve did raise interest rates 0.25%, and their statement came out rather hawkish. And I think the market actually took that as a positive to say, okay, the Fed's taking inflation seriously, and they're going to fight it. And then finally, one thing to remember, stocks are a discounter of what they think is going to happen in the future. So looking out 6 to 9 months out, we're seeing pretty strong economic data still coming in. We're seeing good corporate earnings. So I think what we're seeing a bit there is the stock market looking past the current gas prices, the current situation in Ukraine, and saying, hopefully 6 to 9 months out, things are going to be better, and hence stocks reflect that.
So the worst over then, you think? The improvement keep going here for stocks?
Well, Ryan, I wish I could say I think it's over. I don't know on this bounce. I think, we can still have some struggles over the next few months. But when you see moves like we saw last week, it almost always indicates that markets are going to go higher if we look further out. So there's only been 4 times in history where the stock market has gone up more than 1% 4 days in a row. And that's what happened last week. And as you can see, 3 months out, in 3 of those situations, markets were strongly higher. In 1, they were negative. But once we go 6 months out, you see the markets were up anywhere from 9% to 19%. And when you go 12 months out, not only was it up every time, but the worst performance was 15%, the best 34%. So it is true that if we look longer term, when we see markets move as strongly as they did last week, it does tend to be a really positive sign.
All right, Rick, so we will stay positive and we will stay patient moving forward. As always, we appreciate your advice. Thanks for waking up with us on a Monday morning.
Yeah, have a great day and welcome, Ryan.
Thanks, Rick. Really appreciate it.
We'll be back with your top stories right after the break.